Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to the But Mostly Disney podcast. I'm Tater, and I'm here with my buddy Andrew.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Ooh, I like that.
Hey.
I like that. I like a good greeting. I always feel like it's so funny. I start this show, again, I say it every time with this weird like internet voice, and then I just talk normally the rest of the time. But I'm really excited.
I got a deep voice right now. I need to use it. So
what's that? Yeah,
it's augmented voice. I need to use it.
Yeah, why not? I'm excited for a number of reasons. One, I'm leaving for Disney on Friday, so I'll be in Florida. And then at the end of July, my wife and I are going to fly out to California and go see, and I'm going to brag again, go see my kid who is working at Pixar. So I'm pretty thrilled about that. And we were looking at our trip the other night and looking to book things, and we were looking at all the hotels and what should we do and how should we do it. And I thought, hey, I've got an expert. Why am I trying this on my own? So with us tonight is Stacey with an E, the Disney hotel lady.
I'm so happy to be here and help you out with this, Tater.
I'm excited. I'm having some graphics trouble, so we're gonna push through. So Stacey, I think you are get the designation of first person to come on twice.
Yes, she is.
Oh, yay. Oh, do I get like a little crown or sticker or something?
I should have done that, but God knows how long that would take me to make. So yeah, I know. And so we were laughing because I spelled Stacey's name wrong. And Karen, who will be getting something in the mail from me, has won the contest because she is really good at proofreading. My wife is excellent as well. It's just that she does not want to read all this stuff.
My profession in life.
Which is?
Proofreading. That was my profession in former life.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm a bull in a china shop. But if you don't follow Stacey on social media, then you're doing things wrong. She is an expert in Disney hotels, and particularly, I mean, would you say you're more of an expert in California, or I mean, is that your home base? Because I've seen you doing a lot of really good stuff in Florida.
Yeah, at this point, I would say more in California because I have more visits there versus Florida at this point. But, yeah.
Gotcha. But you're working to change that?
I'm working on it. Yep, working on it. They actually asked me, because I was at an event my last trip, and several people asked me, well, how many hotels have you actually stayed at? And after my last trip, I'm now up to 34 hotels.
Wow.
And
there's only 3 Disney hotels, so.
In California, yes, that's right.
So you've got a lot of cool stuff going on. That's a lot of hotels. Well, so we kind of fell into something, and I don't know if it's something we'll do every single time, but I have been kind of doing, and I don't think we did when you were here last time, but what is kind of like, maybe give us kind of like your Disney origin story. Like, why Disney? Why do you love Disney? Why do any of us, we become these nuts, right? But I mean, there's reasons, and they're kind of all different for different people. So I'd love to hear how you got started in loving Disney the way you do.
That's interesting. I don't know if there's really a story per se. I just, we grew up with the movies, and, we had like a real extensive VHS collection, and I did get to go to Disneyland a couple of times. I don't remember how many, but as a kid, my parents took us, because we were only 5-6 hour drive in Phoenix, so it was pretty close. Yeah, it's just the thing that made me happy, and yeah.
And so you went so it started as a kid for you, definitely.
Definitely, yeah, definitely started as a kid. I remember going to see The Lion King in theaters when it opened in what we would call today IMAX.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was one of the first movies that me and my friend group were allowed to go see on our own.
Ooh.
They let us go to the theater by ourselves. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
I think it's cool that most everybody we talk to, they started with the movies. Everything started with the movies. Goes back to Walt. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting how it works out that way. And there's a lot of obvious choices. Like, I think if I had to pick, Mary Poppins is probably my favorite Disney movie across the board. But on Facebook every day, I've been posting, not every day, I've been watching a lot of the classic live action films. And for me, those really scream Disney, like all the old Dean Jones and Johnny Tremaine and That Darn Cat, all these films that were my childhood, and even though they're before I was born in 71. But every Sunday night we had a 2-parter or one of those movies. And that to me screams Disney. That and my fondest memories of Pirates when I was a kid. Like I don't remember everything about going to Disney World as a kid, but I remember Pirates and that smell and that drop scared me. And, it's just
I remember
awesome.
As a kid, my dad would take us to like a local VHS. This is a long time ago. VHS rental store, not like a Blockbuster, but they had like the whole Disney section. He would go, "Well, I watched that as a kid. I watched that as a kid." And we'd grab one every week, and then we'd go back and watch it. And he would tell us, sat on the floor and watched it on black and white TV, and had a connection with him with the movies. But just to hear everybody every time we have them on asking the origin story, always starts with, "Well, it started with the movies." I think everybody is kind of that way.
Well, and I mean, and I was trying to explain to my kids, like, there was no, like, I remember getting a VCR, right? I remember when that came into our house.
Yeah, they were huge.
Right. No, Christian, I never got stuck on Pirates. We did get stuck on the Small World. And I'm not scarred from it, but I think, and Karen kind of hits it here, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's Mickey Mouse Club. And again, that was way before my time, but watching those reruns, and they were on in the afternoon, but trying to tell my kids, look, we couldn't just pick a movie. It was just what was on. And most of it was adult programming. So we had to sit through all the stuff we hated just to get to something we may or may not like. Mm-hmm. And we didn't, so we, records. I had some long playing records, a Haunted Mansion, turn the record over and we'll continue on the other side. When Tinkerbell flips her wings, turn the record over. And Disney's, just been so prevalent and so prolific, in so many ways for so long. But yeah, it is fun to hear, and people, you can, I guess, kind of define, you can see the, like the chimney at the Wilderness Lodge, you can see the layers, and you can tell which layer you belong in by how you started liking Disney. Like, did you do it here? Was it Little Mermaid? Was it, and because that's like having Caleb on is great, because there's a section of Disney I kind of missed, right? Like the 90s were not my Disney years. I was doing other things. So all the stuff that was on the Disney Channel, or at least most of it, kind of passed by me. And
people assume because of my age, I'm familiar with all the Disney Channel stuff, but I think what they forget is Disney Channel was on cable, and we were not rich enough to have cable, so we only had network television. So the only Disney shows that I got had to be on network television. So I got, Rescue Rangers and DuckTales and stuff like that, but this other like live action shows they had that were all over Disney Channel in the 90s, I did not really grow up with that because I didn't have access to cable.
Right.
Yep.
It's amazing how I feel like a lot of that faded out, and I won't pick on Disney or people who love the stuff. Again, send all your hate mail to Andrew. But I tried to go back. We've watched a bunch of shows, right? Like as our family, we watched Gilligan's Island. I love Dick Van Dyke. That is my favorite TV show of all time. And we went back through some of the older shows, and my kids, as very young, loved them, right? Because we were trying to find family-friendly stuff that we could all watch together. Brady Bunch, We went through all these shows, and you know what didn't like resonate was like Family Ties. And I loved Family Ties. I loved Alex P. Keaton. But even I didn't want to watch it again. Like it just didn't seem to hold up. And I wonder like what makes that different? Like why is Mary Poppins still, why is Lady and the Tramp still something that holds on, I think, forever? Or like Cars. Cars will be around forever. Every kid will go through a Cars phase. At least it seems like they will.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Maybe it's like doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter how fancy your graphics are or how pretty it is. If you have good stuff, people are going to come find you and they're going to watch it. And that's what Disney put out, was a lot of good stuff.
Very true.
Because even some of the movies I'm watching here, as I read the comments and people tell me why they like Happiest Millionaire, I just could never get through it. I've tried, and I love Fred McMurray. I love musicals. Everything about that should be awesome. And I just couldn't do it. And then everybody's like, you got to try. So I did. Now it really is a great film. Yep. Andy Griffith. Karen's right. Andy Griffith was another one. I mean, that still on, still in reruns. People are still watching it. All right. Sorry. I'm easily distracted. I'm going to Disneyland, guys. I'm going to California. If I haven't bragged about it enough, my oldest kid is an internship at Pixar.
Brag away.
So we, well, it's unbelievable. And that's only the stuff they can tell me. Like he has all these secrets now. Like, oh, Dad, you should see what they're working on. And I know that's not good audio, but that's me leaning in, waiting for something. But they're very cut and dry. Plus, they don't want to ruin their chances of anything there. Yeah. So my wife was like, we should fly out with the kid and drop him off there. And I'm like, no. We wait until he gets ingrained there so that we can get a tour of the facility, which apparently he did share that pretty much first day they already addressed the fact that your parents are coming and they're going to want to see the place. And so that we are going to get to have a tour when we go, which is fun. But I live in Virginia. It's tough for me to get to Orlando, but even tougher to California. So we thought, hey, let's fly into LA. So this is our plan. And then we'll go back to the Disney Hotel. We're going to fly into LA on a Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to do Disney, see the 75th, wander around. I guess we'll do both parks. I really haven't decided yet. Maybe, maybe not. Then Friday, we're going to take the Amtrak Coast Starlight up to Emeryville, where Pixar is. So, yeah, that's funny. NDAs stink. He's right. I would like to know what's going on. Even if I wasn't allowed to talk about it, I feel like, this is my kid. So we're going to take this train trip because the drive's long from LA to Oakland anyway. So the train's 12 hours, like 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 at night, and I can look out the window and take a nap. So we're going to get like a little sleeper car for that and take that trip up. And then we're just gonna get a regular hotel, somewhere near Pixar, and then spend a couple days with my kid. And then on Monday, we have a tour of Pixar at like noon, and then we fly out on Tuesday. So I will tell you that I had just planned on booking the Disneyland Hotel because it's awesome, but it's also $500 a night for the cheapest room. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then that's when my wife thought, she's like, well, it might make a good video, doing something outside of that. And then I thought what would make a good video is having Stacey come on and tell us about the best hotels that we need to go and where we could stay. So how do I pick this hotel, Stacey? What do I do?
So has anything caught your eye yet as you've been browsing besides the Disneyland Hotel?
Yes. And I would have booked this already if the Howard Johnson Modern Retro Suite was available. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Like that looks pretty cool. And so I did look that up and it's not available for our trip. So that's out. So from there, I think my only requirements are going to be I'd like a hot tub.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to, but I'd like one. And then walking distance. Cause we're not going to get a car in LA or in Anaheim. We're just going to get off the plane, go straight to the hotel, stay there, and then take a Uber to the train station on Friday morning. So anywhere I go, I'm walking.
Okay. And what is like a maximum walking distance for you?
Oh, I mean, we can walk pretty well. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be, I mean, a 20-minute walk maybe at the most. Would that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what airport are you flying into? Are you flying into LAX?
We are.
Ooh.
Or
okay.
What else is there? Hold on, I can tell you.
The closest one to Disneyland is John Wayne Santa Ana Airport.
Yeah, no, we're not flying into there.
The other one, it's super small, but I actually love it, is Long Beach. And they usually have some really good prices to fly into there. Although that's mostly Southwest. I don't know if you fly Southwest, but...
I'm not. So we did already buy our airline tickets, and we're flying Spirit.
Spirit. Okay, so you definitely want to allow yourself extra time for LAX.
Okay.
And Spirit, yeah, because I've heard some horror stories about people not understanding how big it is and how far it is from Spirit to some of the gates.
Well, we are lucky. Yeah, we're flying into LA, but we get in like we don't have anything that day. Like we're gonna get there Thursday, and all we have to do is get to the hotel.
That's good. Yeah, I've heard people have missed their flights and all this stuff, and I think Spirit is one of the ones that's the gates are far from security.
Gotcha.
I just flew into LAX my last trip so that I could refresh my understanding of it. Okay, but anyway, hotels. So, for just a couple, 2 adults who want to be in walking distance and with a hot tub, actually, all of the quote unquote luxury hotels that are off property at Disneyland are really nice and usually really affordable when compared like with the Disneyland hotel. So I would say the top of the list for me would be the Westin. I think you will never find a better bed to sleep in at any hotel than you will find at the Westin.
Really? Well, the big claim.
And that's the Westin Anaheim Resort?
Yes. Excuse me. That's right.
Here, let's try this. Let's see if this works. Hey, look at that.
Hey, there you go.
You got it right, folks.
So you
very often.
It looks like it's directly across the street, which it is. The problem is you can't enter the park from that side of the street, from that side of the park. You do have to walk up one of the sides, and that takes about 15 minutes. So that still falls within your walking range. So yeah, you would go up that street there.
And then do you enter through downtown Disney?
California.
So on my last trip, they've gotten a lot more strict about who's entering the Grand Californian from the sidewalk there.
Okay.
So what you'll need to do is cross the street and go down between Pixar Pier and the parking lot. That's actually more like a pedestrian way. It looks like a driveway, but it's more like a pedestrian way. And then you make a right, and that'll take you right up to the brand new Downtown Disney entrance.
Okay. Which
I don't know if Google will be up to date to show that yet, but
I'm just doing this for fun.
And so then, you can walk walk down, or if Disneyland is your starting park, you can hop on the monorail and go into Tomorrowland.
Ah, and where is that stop from? Oh, in Disney, in not Disney Springs. Do you know how long it took me to stop saying downtown Disney?
Yeah, I still
Like
call it
last
downtown
week.
Disney.
Yeah, like last week was the first time I ever made it through and didn't say that.
And now you have to say it again.
It's going to ruin me. Well, it's funny. So when we were there 10 or 12 years ago, that was the only thing I didn't get to do was ride the monorail because I didn't know it wasn't like here. And we had one day at Disneyland and one day at California Adventure. And so I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, I messed this up. We just want to ride the monorail. And she said, no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. But it's right there next to the new Star Wars store inside downtown Disney.
Okay.
And yeah, if you're going in like for rope drop, then you have to have Disneyland has to be the park where you have your reservation to start with. If it's after 11 and you have the park hopper, you can get on anytime.
Okay.
But otherwise, you just keep walking down through downtown Disney, and the gates are right there. And
well, that's short show. That's perfect. I'll just book that and we'll be done.
Also at the Westin, if I can sell it some more, not sell it, but
no, tell us all the details. Give us all the secrets.
I did not get this room type when I stayed, but I know that it exists, and I've seen a lot of pictures of it, and they look fabulous. They have, I forget what they call it, but basically park view rooms. So rooms on the north side of the hotel facing California Adventure there. And those rooms get fantastic views of like the big Mickey wheel and the Incredicoaster, all day and all night. There's a fantastic rooftop bar at the Westin.
Oh.
Go up there and have a backwards view because you're behind it of World of Color, or a sunset even. There's lots of little restaurants sort of outside the hotel, but still on property. There's a Mexican place called Puesto. There's a Fleming's steakhouse. There's a little cafe that if you have, I don't know if you or your wife have any dietary restrictions, but the Westin is fantastic with dietary restrictions.
So the park view, and I just closed that, but sometimes Capital One does give me some really, I have booked through them. They've given me some really good prices. They said $57 off. So park view adds about $110, from $300 to $415. And so it's interesting you bring that up because that becomes a dilemma, right? Like a lot of times I will splurge for that, right? Because I'm excited and it's just good. But you figure it would be fun to go to bed and look at that, but we're going to get there Thursday night, get up early, or get there Wednesday night, get up early Thursday, park, and then leave early Friday morning. So then now I have to sit here and decide, is it worth, the $130 for me to leave, right? To maybe not utilize the view as much as I'd like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes sense though. Yeah. My room at the back of the hotel overlooking the parking garage was still fantastic.
Right. I mean, when I feel like I like to be cheap when I'm doing quick trips and then splurge for the long ones, which financially might be backwards, but okay. It's nice having breakfast in the Contemporary and looking out and seeing a castle, while you're having coffee. I love at the beach and yacht club sitting there and watching the friendship boats getting started in the morning, while everyone else is asleep on our day off or whatever. But when I'm just winging in and winging out, it does seem like, I'll save, $220 is a ticket for the day. Or, even when I took, there's a $2 bus ride from the Orlando airport to Disney Springs, an Uber's $40 or, maybe a little more with tip. But that paid for all my coffee while I was there, So I kind of try to think of where that money goes.
Mm-hmm. So in that vein, then, just a couple properties down to the west, there's this little tiny place called the Alamo Inn. And it is the cute little fairy tale hotel that we did last year on our budget hotel tour. It's got like you drive under an archway, and it's got like this little courtyard, and it's got all this mature greenery and trees. Yep, there it is. It's very quaint, very cute, very quiet. But I would say the only thing here is it's very well kept, very clean, but it is older. So there aren't going to be all the new things for like USB ports and charging and things like that. There's like 2 outlets, and you got to try and get all your stuff plugged in.
That's not a problem. I have enough electricity to start my own company or something.
Yeah, it was very. We only spent one night there, but it was really, really cute. And they have a hot tub. It's covered, so even if it's not pleasant outside, you could still use it.
Oh, I saw your video on that. Now that you say, I remember you talking about that on your video. I've forgotten. That's right.
See, there's one to consider. Another one that I just stayed at. Let's see, this is June, so back in April. I haven't heard a lot about this hotel, but I really, really liked it. It was so cute. And it's the other way to the east. It's off of Disneyland Way. It's called the Suncoast Park Hotel. It's a Hilton property. It's got a beach theme, so there's like surfboards and a VW bus and all these little touches like that. Boardwalk sunset pictures in the hallways. Yeah, that's it. We were really happy there too. You can get. We had just a standard room, I think, and it had the fridge and microwave and nice pool and hot tub area, games by the pool. There is a bar and restaurant on site, but no breakfast included.
I don't eat breakfast, just coffee.
There's coffee. There you go. And that one too, I think that's also about a 15-minute walk, just under 15 minutes maybe. And that's going the other way.
I mean, that's half price of the so that's $160. That's pretty good.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Now, do you think that's better than the Alamo or just different?
So if I can classify them in Disney World terms, I would say the Alamo is your value resort, Suncoast would be your moderate, and Westin would be your deluxe.
Okay. Now, how about what is there anything iconic off property that's like been there forever is there something that stands out like that?
When you say that, 2 properties come to mind. One is the Tropicana, and the other is the Candy Cane Inn.
So we were booked at the Candy Cane, and then I convinced we ended up going to the Disneyland Hotel instead, which was awesome. But that was where we were booked originally on our first trip.
Okay. Yeah, the Candy Cane Inn, both of them, I think Tropicana and Candy Cane have both been there more or less since Disneyland opened. They may have come 5 years later, some in the time frame. They're both very well kept. Tropicana is just slightly bigger property, I think, and it has a store on site and does not include free breakfast.
Okay.
But Candy Cane does include free breakfast, and they have a place for you to buy stuff, but I wouldn't really call it a store per se. The staff at Candy Cane, I think, at least from my experience, was not that either were bad, but when I was there, the staff at Candy Cane just seemed like they were going much more above and beyond.
Okay.
When I visited Tropicana, they recently remodeled too. I forgot to ask them when they completed that, but they recently remodeled. So Candy Cane, I think, Tropicana remodeled during COVID, during the shutdown. So that's a relatively recent remodel as well.
Now, where's the Tropicana?
It should be directly across the street from the Disneyland entrance sign. So if you're seeing Grand Legacy, keep going up north.
Oh, I got it. All right, and so they're a little less than the Candy Cane, but that looks nice. See, I like an older motel. We stay at, when we go to Disney in Santee, South Carolina, at this Best Western, and it is just like all one level. You back right up to your door, and it just reminds me of going to Florida with my grandmother when I was a kid. So I like old hotels. I like new hotels too. Don't get me wrong.
And you like shady hotels?
I've been in some shady hotels
South
in
of the
my
border.
life. Yeah, I did stay at South of the Border. Watch that video because that was frightening and really nice. Honestly, I mean, but it's one of those things I feel like everyone should do once.
Well, both of these would fit the drive up to your room and back up to your room. Both of those would go. I think my personal preference would be Candy Cane Inn, but my good friend who also does content about Disneyland, her preference is Tropicana. So I think between those two, it's just a preference thing.
Interesting. It's just, I was trying to explain my buddy, and he's not a Disney person. We actually went, he did not have a great Disney experience. I'm going to take him back. But he always asks, what are you doing the podcast on tonight? What's it about tonight? And I said, well, tonight we're doing this. And he said, we'll just stay at the Disney hotel. I'm like, it's complicated. It's not, I don't get out there a lot. So it's not like just, there's some part of Anaheim that I want to experience that really was part of the building of Disneyland, right? I mean, the whole reason we have this gorgeous park in Florida is because Walt didn't want these guys, right? He wanted his own space. And yet it kind of calls to me a little bit. Like if one of these had a tiki bar in it, I think I would just book it now right here on the show without even asking my wife.
Oh, that's a good question.
I've gotten into look, I've always liked tiki stuff. I've always been fascinated by it, but recently I've been on a kick. So I know that LA has a ton of really cool tiki bars. In fact, in Emeryville, there's a Trader Vic's not too far from Pixar. So then I was thinking like, I wonder, and when you said Tropicana, I was wondering, is there any kind of like tiki themed hotel?
I don't think that there is. I can't recall any, at least.
Well,
and I can't recall a tiki bar near Disneyland aside from Trader Sam's at the Disneyland Hotel.
Right. And I don't drink. Like
they
the
did
bar.
Tell me
Go ahead.
that there's a brewery near Disneyland that is villains themed, and it's got all the Disney villains on the wall.
Ah.
And I can find out. I forget the name right now, but I can find out for you if you want to know.
I don't drink at all. I don't drink any alcohol. I just like the idea of tiki stuff. What's the worst hotel? What do I need to avoid? Should you even say that? I don't want to, maybe I shouldn't ask that question. Let's just stay positive. I don't want anybody in Anaheim to see your stuff and go, oh my God, she's coming by here. She said she hated her.
Well, this is no. I want to, if I may, I want to say something about that. I don't want any hotel to ever feel like I am against them. If I come and I write a bad review about you, all that means is I'm giving you things to work on. If you fix those things, I will come back and I will write a new review.
Well, and that's fair. And I like Gordon Ramsay, and I saw something he said, that the only reviews that matter are the negative ones, right? Like, cause those are the ones that are gonna,
it's where you learn.
Right. I like that. Karen says, see the line where the sky meets the motel. It calls me. I remember Charlotte actually, my one of the twins said one time that she thought we were too fancy and she really wanted to stay in a motel. Like that was important to her with an M. She's not coming on this trip, so we don't really care what she wants to stay in. And I know she's not listening to the podcast, so I can say anything about her I want. But Lord help me if I post her picture on social media. There's like 9 forms I have to fill out. She has to sign a release. I've got to take 9 angles to make sure that we've had some pretty good knockdown, drag out fights. So I'm kind of leaning towards definitely off property now. Like I was wondering if you were going to be able to talk me into that.
There is a lot of great properties off property in California.
And I kind of feel like I'm the kind of person that if you and I go to a restaurant and it's your favorite restaurant and you say, oh, you should really try the pizza here, then I'm just going to put the menu away and have whatever you tell me to have, right? Because again, it's an expert. So now I'm kind of looking back at that Wyndham we looked at first. Weston, sorry, yes.
So I like and I recommend everything we've talked about today, but if we go off of my personal preference, I would go for either the Westin or the Candy King. That's where I would go.
I'd thought about booking it live, but that would require my wife coming on the show because, look, I could put a hammock up somewhere and be fine. And she's tough as nails. Don't get me wrong. She's not a prima donna in any way, but she does like to select what we're doing.
I understand.
Okay. So without any names, are there bad hotels right around Disney? Do you need to be careful when you're booking these rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There are on the budget side, there are some places where it's very clear you get what you pay for, and the cheaper it is, the more careful you should be.
Okay. I mean, that's good advice anyway, right? Like, I mean, that always sounds right. Like I was looking at one of them and I thought the pictures were amazing, and they were, because they were taken inside Disneyland. It was not the hotel at all. But if you're looking at it quickly, I was like, oh. Mm-hmm. Well, and Karen says,
that's what I'm here for.
What's that?
That's exactly what I'm here for, so that you know if the pictures on their website match what you're going to see in real life.
Right, because I'm booking this hotel because it has Tiana's right there in the hotel. It's spectacular. And so Tropicana is the closest, though, would you say, to the gate?
Yes, Tropicana and its neighbor next door, the Best Western, are the closest hotels to the park aside from the Grand Californian. Even Disneyland Hotel and Pixar Place do not beat Tropicana and the Best Western.
Well, now, how's the Best Western?
It's all right.
All right.
I stayed there one night, and I say I do unbiased reviews, but I must admit I went in with a slight bias because I'm like, it's a Best Western. How are people paying over $300 a night for this hotel? Ooh. It's a Best Western. Location.
But
that is it. You are Like you step out of your room and onto Disney property, basically. So to some people, that is worth its weight in gold, and I understand that. So they have a nice free breakfast. The rooms are decent. You know, it was clean, so it's not a bad property. But location is can't be beat for that one.
That's pretty cool. I'm so excited I can't see straight.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Festivities and oh my goodness.
But it is amazing. I do like, as I'm looking through this map of around there, like there's still a lot of old, like they haven't gone up. Like, are there building codes? Because it seems to me, and I wouldn't want it, but I'm looking at this and trying to figure out how many rooms they have and with parking. But if you did parking somewhere else, and I wonder, but that would maybe ruin the view from Disneyland. It would really, if you could see hotels, you know, towering over the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. There's only a few hotels that are very tall, and I'm not sure for the reason for that, but you know, we'll see as Disneyland Forward progresses, that the whole expansion project. That's going to bring in a lot of new stuff, and it's going to change the current location or desirability of some of these hotels, I'm thinking, because as Disneyland expands, some stuff is going to get closer, some stuff will get farther away. It'll be interesting to see.
Now, the Anaheim Majestic Garden is only $123, and you would think that would be a little more, as majestic as it might be. Look, it's a castle.
It is. They have their own resident princess there at Anaheim Majestic.
Have you been there?
I have not stayed there yet, but I have had some friends stay there, and they really enjoyed it.
Interesting, because it's not very expensive.
It's not expensive, and Anaheim Majestic and Candy Cane Inn are the only two properties that include transportation in their nightly rates. So they both have. Well, Candy Cane has the trolley. It's an actual trolley. What I saw last time were buses that were coming from Anaheim Majestic. So instead of walking, hop on their bus and they'll take you. It's just their bus. It only goes to their hotel in Disneyland. So.
Wow. Because it doesn't look too much farther. I mean, I'm not great at judging distance, but didn't say the Westin.
I think technically it's farther just because there's some streets and freeways that will get in your way.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I see. They just need to have those moving sidewalks everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, if I was just throwing a dart, I would stay at the Anaheim Majestic Garden Hotel just because of the name. Like that. That's how I would choose a hotel. That's why I had to stay at south of the border by myself. That's because my wife's like, no. We talked about it for like 17 years. I'm like, let's just pull in and see. No. She wouldn't even use the restroom there. Let's go to the next exit. And it does smell like a summer camp. But the room was almost too clean. Like hiding a body kind of clean, right? Like it was, yeah, it really did kind of feel like someone had been murdered, and they did a great job getting rid of the evidence. No one's going to jail, right? So it's awesome, but it was so clean. It made me uncomfortable. And it might've been the worst bed I've ever slept in my entire life.
You think?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think overnight at county lockup is probably a more comfortable mattress than the south of the border.
You heard it here first, people.
Right. And yet, in saying that, it makes me sad that it's not doing more business. Like there's something about it that I love. I love we used to, when I was a kid, I would ride with my grandmother. We would drive to Maine and to Florida, and we would, I could be wrong, but I don't think 95 was there when I was a kid. I think parts of it were done. And I think you had to take 17, because we would take 17 pretty much to Savannah. Which if you do that now, it adds several hours onto the trip. It's really nice. But we would stay in little tiny motels, and we would stop and see the chicken playing basketball, which I get it. I know it's cruel. It's not nice, but we didn't know any better then. It was different times. All right. So Andrew says that they've stayed at the Hyatt House at Catella and Harbor many times. Where's that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right at the intersection of Harbor and Catella. So it's about catty corner from the Candy Cane.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you stayed there?
I have not been to that one yet.
If I can clear some of this other stuff off here. There's so many choices.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Anaheim is everyone knows kind of that they're competing with each other. So it feels like there is a certain like standard that's being met wherever you go. Like Disneyland is setting the standard with their, reputation and level of service, and all the hotels around them are doing their best to meet that standard. So
is the competition pretty fierce? Like how many? Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say so. Yeah.
Look how cute the Alpine Motel is. Have you stayed there?
I haven't, but that one is on my list for my next budget tour.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Maybe we can join forces and I could be a correspondent in the field.
Yeah.
Sean from But Mostly Disney is on assignment this week.
Let's do it.
It's fascinating. So I want to stay everywhere now. I kind of want to do a split stay and try 2 different hotels just to see. Because I'm definitely not going to stay on property now after talking to you. I'm definitely going to go. I mean, I guess everything compared to Disney is budget, right? I mean, having my dates in here right now, just as a Pixar place is more expensive than the Disneyland hotel. That seems odd.
Yeah, that's been going on for several months now, and I think it's due to the refurbishment being complete or nearly complete.
And then David says, and I agree. I mean, the Grand Californian is obviously the cream of the crop, right? I mean, you got your own secret entrance. We went in there. I think we ate there and kind of wandered around because we stayed. I mean, look, it would be. I want to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. It was awesome. And even if we don't stay there, we'll probably go over and have lunch, at Trader Sam's or something, just because that is so cool. But it's hard. It's hard to break away from the property, right?
Yes.
If money's only sort of an issue, right? Like let's not say we're Rockefellers here. Do you, for first timers, for people who've never been to Disneyland, should they bite the bullet and stay on property their first time?
Not necessarily. A lot of people feel like they want to stay across the street. And especially for first timers, because they hear that you're supposed to walk everywhere, which everything is so close that you can basically walk everywhere. So if that's what they've heard and that's the feeling they have, then any of those hotels across the street are great options. And that I think might be because then you can kind of fall kind of in between. You don't have to shell out for Disneyland, but because of the location, it's still going to be across the street at the off property. It's still going to be a little more than a budget hotel, but you've got that great location.
Right. But I mean, if let's just call the Disneyland Hotel $500 and I can stay for 300 in a regular room, because that's a regular room at the Disneyland Hotel at that Westin, and have a great time, then I've got $400 to do stuff with. Right. Did I do that math right? Yeah. 300. So $200 a night. I mean, I could buy 2 lightsabers, right? Like that's how I think about it.
That's why one reason we haven't gone is it's so we were going to stay on property the first time. It's just so expensive to fly from Charleston there. Then the hotel and the tickets were like, we can go to Disney World twice for what we'd pay to fly out.
Mm-hmm. At Disneyland, staying on Disney property is really not as important as it is in Florida in Disney World.
Yeah, now when we did stay there, we did have the big windows overlooking the park, and it was pretty awesome. You know, it was also 12 years ago when it was a lot cheaper, right? But you're right. There is a definite, even just looking to book it, there's a definite different feel than staying in Orlando, right? And there's some great hotels off property, even going beyond like the ones that are, you know, Hotel Avenue that are still on property but run by somebody else. I mean, there's some incredible hotels in Orlando, and then there's some really frightening areas that you really should not ever stay.
Ever down International Boulevard, don't go there.
Right. They made a movie about it. Well, all right. So I've got some decisions to make, because now I saw the Alpine. I would have said I was just going to stay at that Westin again because you recommend it, and that's the one that is the only hotel still on my screen over here. I think I see if I can. That's the one that has stayed up. All the other ones have faded away, but the Westin is the one I still have over there. So I'll let you know what I decide. We've got a little time, but I like to get it booked early. I don't know if the hotels go up in price as we get closer or not.
It depends. They can go up or down sometimes. So.
Oh, well, I like that. I am going to check. I have a Capital One card, and they give me some shopping thing and some extension I think I didn't mean to install, but I have saved a lot of money through them. Like sometimes $100 a night. You know, they'll put a package together or throw in a car or something. So I like to look around. I mean, I love doing this, but it's expensive, you know, and I've got 3 kids now in college. I got rid of the private school, but now I have college to pay for. So, you know, every dollar I spend, I think about, you know, like Andrew said, would I have booked a trip to California this year? Probably not, because my next one has to be Hawaii for my wife. Like that's the next. And I tried. I've just got too much going on to go from there. We're already there. I could just get a flight to Hawaii and go but it's coming. And I don't think she listens either. But if she does, I promise, baby, I'm going to take you to Hawaii. And so that's kind of our next trip we're saving up. That for Kay, my wife and I, and then Tokyo is where I want to spend my money next. So, you know, if I have an amazing stay for $300 a night, which is still, you know, over what I could spend, then that's $400 towards the Hawaii fund, which will go a long way.
If it helps, I have heard that Alpine is a hidden gem.
A hidden gem.
Just like Candy Cane, people have said, don't tell everyone about Candy Cane because we don't want it to get overbooked and we can't stay there anymore. But I'm like, this is
well, it seems like someone's told them because their prices have gone up. Like, so, you know, I forget how, I think my mom actually booked that and I forget how she found it, but that somehow she knew about it. And, yeah, see, this is perfect. David says, how many lightsabers will that cost me? That should all, and that's true. That would be, would you like to sit over here? What is that in lightsabers? Tell me. Cause that is kind of how I think.
And as an inside joke, maybe that is my husband who owns 0 lightsabers.
Oh, is that who that is? Well,
that's Abby watching us.
Well, you just, I don't want to show you my son's closet. Let me see if I can do this right. But if you look, that's only a little sampling there of how many lightsabers we're going to have.
You can see
now
2 of mine.
Oh, yeah. And now the question is, does David want a lightsaber now? Because
yes.
I got him hooked on the Star Wars Star Wars nights at Disneyland. We've gone 2 years in a row now, and he wants to go next year and dress up. And I'm like, you don't
Oh, he's
ever
gonna have a
want
lightsaber then.
Oh, now Kelly Freeman says Best West Park Place Inn. Oh, that's the Best Western we talked about, right? Okay.
Yep.
And free warm breakfast, which is important because Karen was asking about that too. And Andrew says that the highest house has mini kitchens.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we won't. I won't. I'm not gonna cook. Yeah, I'll be and you were talking about it as well as Andrew. I don't know much about Disneyland Forward. I can barely keep up with Orlando. Like I mean, I really need. I need if there's someone, anyone who would help me with finding Disney news because I feel like this stuff pops out and I Googled Disneyland Forward and then, I do have a real job. So I had to go do that some. So I don't even know much about what Disneyland Forward's even going to do for us or against us out there.
No, it's already started. So
is it going to be awesome?
I have high hopes, but just this week they announced that the Monsters Inc. ride in California Adventure will be closing to make way for Pandora, Land of Avatar.
Oh.
Yes. So if you like that ride it now.
Well, I think Andrew said that earlier that it's closing, but I really haven't. So can you give us a quick brushstroke of what Disneyland Forward's going to be? Do you want to do that? You don't have to.
I can. It's just real quick, very cursory, because a lot of details are still unknown. But it's just Disneyland Forward is just the project name for their plans for the next 10 to 20 years to expand from the renderings and drawings that they've released. The park is going to be expanding across the streets around the Disneyland Hotel and Pixar Place. And they're going to take over the area that is now the Toy Story parking lot. And that might become another downtown Disney type area, or it might become a park area. So, and they do show that they are considering another hotel or two. Whether that will come to be, remains to be seen. But all of those hotels there that are already in place, like the Hyatt, there are going to be in a much better position once that stuff is all finished. But again, that's the next 10 to 20 years we're looking at. So
that's amazing because you look at this and it doesn't seem, I mean, I did see some drawings of where they're kind of creeping out, but it doesn't look like there's room for anything.
I know, right?
And I will say that when...
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm really bad at stopping talking. So please just talk over me as much as you like.
I'm guessing, I can't say for sure, but it looks like a lot of it is going to involve, as you mentioned, going up and down. Like there's going to be more parking garages installed instead of just flat lots. Part of what they announced earlier this week was a new entrance system off of Harbor there, where we were looking at the Tropicana. There's going to be a pedestrian bridge and walkway and things like that. So, yeah.
Wow. It was pretty neat that, we rented a car and then we drove into the Disneyland Hotel and parked I didn't notice Anaheim around Disneyland when I was in there. Like it really does, obviously coming into Disney World, so much different, but I felt really encapsulated there. I felt really like I was in a different world, which is what I'm trying to do when I go out there anyway, right? Is disappear. Well, cool. Well, again, as always, I try to keep it to an hour. I could talk more. Imagine that. My wife would let you know that that's not unusual. But Stacey, tell everybody where to find you and what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to hotels. I actually stay in the room. I sleep in the bed. I use the shower. And then I report back to you on how my experience was. I have property walkthroughs and tours on YouTube, and I have mini snippets of that type of information on Instagram. I think those are going to be my two main platforms going forward. I am on TikTok and Facebook and Threads and all of that, but I'm just there a little bit less. And I think I'm going to start focusing more on YouTube and Instagram. And then, of course, I have all my posts and categorizations on my sites. They're DisneyHotelLady.com.
Which is awesome. And I do have that up here because I was looking at it earlier, where I should have looked to see how to spell your name and didn't. But it's, I mean, look, Orlando's confusing, right? Of where to stay. I mean, there's a lot of choices at a lot of different prices. And Stacey's really synthesizing that and giving us a really good, I mean, look, we're all going to have our favorites, right? Someone's going to, you know, some people love put ketchup on scrambled eggs. I don't, but I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to yell at them for doing that. We all have different opinions, but it's nice to be able to curse through it, and take a look and see and kind of dilute all the other outside information, because you can't trust Google reviews, right? You know, I try to, even on Amazon, I try to take the 4 through 2. I don't look at any 5-star reviews. I don't look at any 1-star reviews, just 2, 3, and 4, because usually those are more real. So Stacey's found a really good niche, and I met her at Momentum, which, are you going this year?
That is the plan, but I got a new job, so I just have to make sure I can get the time off.
Yep. I'm planning on going. Andrew's going to try to be there, right?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's awesome, and that's where I met Stacey, and it's really you don't have to be a creator or whatever we call ourselves, vlogger. I don't know, but I was thinking when you said that, like I do Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I think that's it. Is that right? I feel like there's one more. Instagram. Oh, and I do TikTok now. My kids told me I should, and and they're right. You do get a lot more interaction on TikTok. Like if a video on Facebook gets 500 views, then on TikTok it's 1,000, and people actually comment. So it's a much more interactive place to be. But it's just like, oh my gosh, doing 5 posts, and I'm already sick of my face and my voice, and I just don't want to hear it anymore, and I don't want to choose any more music to go behind it, and I don't want to think about an algorithm. So it would be nice. And if you go to Momentum, you know, again, just to make sure we glaze Lou Mangello on every episode, you're going to meet some people like Jeff C., who have all these tips and tricks. That there probably is one button we could push. I just haven't. I haven't gotten to that yet. So check him out. Check out Paul Gowder. If you don't follow him, he's got great Disney stuff, as well as I need to get my email. I have all of 11 subscribers, and I think I've done it 5 times. It's not very consistent.
Yeah. Paul helped me out a little bit this morning, gave me some pointers. So
yeah, they're just great people. It was really like going to like a Young Life event or something. You know, there were laughter and tears, and it was awesome. So, all right, Andrew, got a new video for us?
Yeah, no, I won't have any content till I go down in July. So
that's fine. I want to push on you though.
Got some car show stuff coming up, so
I want to see your bad videos. Did you get your car running yet?
No. We're Father's Day. My dad's coming over. We're gonna do it together. So
you should film that. I'm interested to see that. Yeah.
So Big Al, as I call my truck, will hopefully start soon. So
there you go.
It was cold. I feel better.
All right, guys. But mostly Disney. Like, subscribe, share, all that same stuff everybody always says. And thank you, as always, for coming by and joining us in the chat. I did see Caleb. You're saying you can be my Disney news guy. Okay. Be careful what you wish for. So thanks, guys. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I'll be in Disney. Maybe I can go live or figure out how to do Andrew and I through the phone. I'll see what we can do. But follow on social medias to find out more. Thanks, Stacey, so much for coming.
I do. We'll go to bed.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew, go get some rest.
I will.
Get some vitamins.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Bye.